So the Acolyte is the latest thing that the Star Wars keyboard warriors are pissed off about. All 8 episodes are now available for you to stream on Disney Plus whenever you guys want. I have sat through this entire season with my girlfriend, and I've got some thoughts about it. Let's keep things respectful, please. So this show is set at the end of the High Republic era, which is approximately 100 years before the Phantom Menace. We follow a respected Jedi Master played by Jung-jae, who you might remember from Squid Game, investigating a series of crimes that bring him into contact with a former Padawan learner played by Stenberg, and reveal sinister forces. Now, I'll be honest, I was definitely excited to check this show out, but I'm gonna level with you guys. There's a part of me deep down that doesn't even want to be really recording this video, because it honestly doesn't really matter what I feel about this show. It's bound to piss somebody off. And that's the sad nature of being a Star Wars fan, and this is something that I love. It's a franchise that I absolutely adore. This is an ultimate escape. The reason why we as geeks love Star Wars so much is because we grew up with it. This is one of the first big franchises a lot of people were exposed to. So I can understand why some of these Star Wars fans have high standards. But when you put toxic language into the mix, and when you start hounding people because of their opinions on cinema or on television, that's where the line is drawn. And this behavior honestly comes off as really toxic, and for lack of a better terms, it's exhausting. And it's felt pretty exhausting to be a Star Wars fan for almost a decade now. I'd want to say ever since The Last Jedi came out. It's been super exhausting being a Star Wars fan, I gotta be honest. And look, this is me sitting here as a normal schmo. I'm sitting here as a critic who's looking at things objectively. I'm not even sitting here and defending a lot of the things that the Star Wars universe has put out into the open, especially Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. I'm very critical of both of those projects. And a lot of the shows that we've been getting, even the most recent installment of The Mandalorian, some of them can have their issues. But it honestly looks to me on social media that the Acolyte is the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. And after sitting on this for a couple of days and thinking more about it, I understand where the critiques are coming from. Do I think The Acolyte is the worst TV show that the Star Wars universe has put out into the open, especially over the past 5 years since the inception of Disney Plus? No, I certainly don't think The Acolyte is as boring or as disappointing as the Book of Boba Fett. That was something that I was really looking forward to, because in theory, there's a lot of things that really work about The Acolyte, and a lot of ideas that are brought to the table. They feel incredibly refreshing, especially in the Star Wars world, or the galaxy far, far away, if you will. A lot of the stunt work and the fight choreography feels very martial arts heavy. This isn't really something we're used to in a Star Wars project, and I think that's really cool. I like that we're exploring a different time period. I like in a sense that this feels like prehistoric Star Wars. I like that we have a Jedi Wookiee character. That is a really neat idea. Chewbacca never studied to be a Jedi, so it's really cool to have that dynamic out of this species for once. And another thing, you do get yellow lightsabers in this one. Yellow. Brand new color for lightsabers. It might seem a bit mundane when you compare it to all the other vibrant colors of lightsabers that you can pick from, but a yellow lightsaber, hey, at least it feels different. And I can definitely give these actors credit where it's due, because you can definitely sense that there's effort and enthusiasm on their part. Especially as it goes with Amandla Stenberg, who I'm not going to give too much into detail about what her characters are. That's right, characters. She plays a set of twins in this show. And I think her performance is really impressive, especially after watching her in the Hunger Games recently and rewatching that, how young she was when she did the Hunger Games, and just seeing how far she's come along in her career. She's developed into a really great actress, I think. Jung-jae is one of my favorites in television right now. I loved him, especially in Squid Game. Squid Game was just a batshit insane show, and he carried a good chunk of it on his shoulders, and he was really, really solid in The Acolyte. There's a lot of people in this one. Dafne Keen is really good. Carrie-Anne Moss makes an appearance in this. She's really great. Manny Jacinto was really good, and he has a lot of very compelling character beats. His connection and his chemistry with Amandla Stenberg, I think, especially if they're considering an Acolyte Season 2, I definitely think there's some compelling things that were set up down the line. And I think Manny Jacinto himself is a really good actor. I was just introduced to a TV show called The Good Place. Thank you to Lindsay, by the way. She recognized him almost instantly when we were watching the show. And then she was like, hey, we got to start watching The Good Place. That was not a mistake. The Good Place is freaking genius. But yeah, especially the talent in front of the camera, you can sense that the effort is there. Now, with what I'm thinking about in regards to The Acolyte and just sitting with my thoughts, I honestly found this to be a lot of fun. I was definitely thoroughly entertained by this, but I feel like the marketing team really failed this project for a lot of people. And I don't even necessarily think it's them promising that it's set 100 years before The Phantom Menace. That's all well and good. I think it's just them over-promising on the murder mystery aspect. And that was one of the most disappointing facets for me, because as someone who loves a good whodunit, I love a good mystery and trying to figure out the culprit of said crimes. And yeah, there is some semblance of mystery here, and once that mystery is revealed, yeah, it's supposed to be this big emotional story gut punch. But yet the more I think about it and the motivations for why this character did what they did, it makes every other character look so much worse by comparison. And ultimately, the more and more I think about it and the more I let my thoughts on the Acolyte fester like this, I think the biggest disappointment for people, I think I've got it down. The overall message of this show appears to me, no man is ever truly good, no man is ever truly evil. This show is delving into the corruptness of the Jedi Order. This show is delving into the goodness in Sith, which is stuff that we've absolutely seen before in other Star Wars projects in the past. But it just feels to me like as a whole product, as a whole season, The Acolyte doesn't really pick a side. And it's a pretty ballsy choice to kind of be stuck in the middle, but it's a double-edged sword because as an audience member, I don't really know how to feel. I don't really know who I'm supposed to feel sorry for. I don't know who I'm supposed to feel vindictive towards. The show doesn't really tell you that. And I feel like even in the most ambiguous of movies where they kind of leave things open-ended, at least you can sense that there's a solid hero and a solid villain. And I know this sounds pretty fundamental, but The Acolyte doesn't really achieve that the more I think about it. So the more I'm sitting here talking about it and the more I'm letting these thoughts really go out on the table, The Acolyte is entertaining enough. Like I said, the fight choreography is really solid. The production design, as per for a Star Wars movie, is really cool. I mean, you can definitely sense some points where you see the actors were filmed in front of a green screen. But the effort from the performers is certainly there, so I can't fault the failures of The Acolyte on them. I don't want to sit here and say that The Acolyte was wasted potential at all. I'm definitely rooting for Season 2 to be a little bit better than this. And don't even get me wrong, I'm not giving up on this show. I'm certainly not giving up on Star Wars as an IP. I'm curious to see where Season 2 goes from here. I'm not going to let the keyboard warriors ruin my fun as it comes with Star Wars, or any form of media for that matter. It just feels like for whatever reason, with The Acolyte, this was the boiling point. Of all shows, The Acolyte is the boiling point for people. To some people, if they're looking at me and they see that I loved this show, which I didn't, they would have thought that I was a woke idiot. And if I would sat here and hated this show, they would have thought I was just some racist bigot. That's a really toxic way to think about it. So my message to everybody before I give my grade is this. As it goes with discussing any form of media, as it goes with any sort of analysis on art, be respectful of other people's opinions. Better yet, just be respectful, period. End of story. So with that out of the way, I'm going to give The Acolyte a B-. I know some people might think that is way too high for this show. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I did enjoy this more than the Book of Boba Fett, which just bored the hell out of me. But let me know what you guys thought of The Acolyte. And again, please keep any and all comments respectful and let me know all down there what you thought. Guys, I love discussing all things in the cinematic world. I love discussing all things Star Wars over here on this channel. If you're new, do consider subscribing. Tap on that thumbs up as well. That would be greatly appreciated. And stay tuned for more videos hitting the channel very soon, guys. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.